All right, welcome to Behind the Scene, Behind the Story, because we are wanting to take you in to get you more information. There was a huge story that a lot of people have been talking about in our area. It's the I-35 road rage incident. Sue Calberg has been covering the story, has been going behind the story with this, and we want to know more. Like, how did you see this? How did this pop off? Because you were one of the first ones to see.
Right, and it did happen Sunday morning at 10:30, and the way I got involved, of course, like most people, I was off work, I was at home. There's a fire station 100 yards from my house, and I heard them leave the house. I heard their sirens start up, and I looked at the fire dispatch screen like I always do, and I looked at the screen and I saw 9 units for trauma right near my house. And about the time I thought, wow, 9 units for trauma? That seems like a big deal. The SAPD Eagle helicopter just came right over my house, low and fast. They were hot. They were in hot pursuit of something. And so even though I didn't have any information at that point from any official source, I just thought, lots of fire trucks, lots of first responders, Eagles looking for somebody, I'm gonna go over there. And sure enough, it took us a couple of minutes to get to I-35 at the Splashtown exit. And most people know that location right now, because even though this had nothing to do with a stock show and rodeo, that's kind of the exit that you take to get to the Frostbank Center Drive and the whole area.
It's been heavily trafficked the last 2 weeks, so.
Lots of traffic, and not only that, but the access road that you take right there at Splashtown is where all of the livestock people go to get to their
Their private entrances.
Their parking area where they store all their stock trailers. So there was a big, the access road was shut down. There was a big jam on the main lanes. So beyond just the shooting itself, this was an issue that impacted a lot of people because there were a lot of people moving around at that point. So what we've done here for Behind the Story for the first time ever is I've cut a bunch of extra video because I think people are really interested in this, and I think people should be, because 3 people ended up shot. And so what we'd like to do is use a little bit of the video, roll a little bit of the video, and as the video rolls, I'm just going to talk you through what it was like. The police helicopter was involved, as I said. There was a big confloption. You know, as soon as I arrived, I saw that there was a car on the access road. That silver car turned out to be the car that the shooters jumped out of. This police officer, you can see she's walking up and down. There were a lot of police officers walking up and down the access road in the aftermath of this shooting, where they must have been firing at each other for maybe a quarter mile or so.
Wow.
Now, and as you can, lots of crime scenes, you know, you get there and there's mass confusion. As I was walking up, the first EMS unit started to leave, and then the second unit, then a third unit, and they all went away hot. You know, they were anxious.
So you knew, like, there were people in trouble in those EMS vehicles.
Right, they were in trouble, and I'm assuming that they went to BAMC because BAMC is really right across the highway. And I heard them say on the scanner that they were asking for whole blood, and you can see relatives by this time had already started to show up, and it was a very trying time for the relatives because they got calls from their people saying, hey, we've been shot, you know, and they rushed over there to help. And then when they saw the EMS units, of course, they knew that they had to follow them to the hospital.
And that Jeep we just saw there, police believe that is the Jeep that started firing off the shots.
Right.
So maybe back us up, like what happened on the highway?
Yeah, we have a video of that too. And so we'll go to that other video. And it's the video of the actual shooting scene. Now, if you look at the very, very top of your screen where the cursor is, up there at the very top above all of that stored equipment, you'll see 2 cars. You'll see the silver Jeep, and then you'll see the little bitty dark sedan. I believe it's a Toyota. And we're going to roll the video in just a second here, and you'll see those 2 cars, and you'll see how super close they are. And you'll see this was a busy stretch of I-35, and there they are, and there's shooting going on at that moment. And then you see the 2 cars crash into one another, and the little
missed that SUV.
I know, they barely missed that SUV, and then they go careening off the highway. They go across the access road, and one of the cars, the silver car, the silver Jeep with the 4 gunmen in it, They got a flat tire. They just abandoned that vehicle on the side of the road. They took off running. We're going to see that video in a minute. But the little dark sedan is the one where all the shooting victims, they're losing control and crashing into the other car because they're actually shot.
Wow.
So that's what happened. Essentially, two cars get involved in a confrontation on the road, and we don't know anything about motive at this point. San Antonio police, of course, it's been 48 hours now, so they've had a chance to go over to the hospital and talk with the people who were involved to see how it all started. But they haven't shared any information with us on the backstory about where all this came from. So what we know from this point is that two cars are running down the road, something bad happens. One car, essentially, we know for sure, starts shooting at the other car because that's where all the people got shot. Then the car with the assailants crashes out on the access road. And then the car with the injured people amazingly crashes right into the yard of National Trench Safety.
And were they open? Because it looks like, it has a bunch of, lumber yard, a bunch of trucks. Like usually there's a lot of people, but this is a Sunday, and that video you showed is just crazy. Should we take that video to show what happened after that?
Right, yeah, I think we should look at the video. So what we're going to see at the top of the video is there goes the little car crashing through their fence for National Trench Safety. They make things that help people be safe on job sites. So you go over there and then you see all three of the shot people start jumping out of the car, and you see them hopping around. You see the driver is there right there by the car. They're all injured. They're all hopping around. They're all trying to get out. When the driver gets out of the car continues to roll, and it actually crashes into some of their equipment there in the yard of National Trench Safety. And then look at what happens while the injured people are running around calling for help, calling for EMS. You can see four people, all in dark clothing, all in dark hoodies, running away. Now, they don't look like they got shot at all. Now, this guy right here, I don't know whether he has a gun in his hand or not, but Kevin, the manager of the business who gave me this video, and thanks to him, because I think people want to know what these guys look like. So anyway, they're running fast. They're running like they were not injured. And then, of course, as the situation continued, I talked to this grandma, and she pulled up and she was very upset because she said she got a call from her grandson saying, my grandson has been shot, he's in trouble, and I need to find my grandson. She was one of many relatives who showed up on the scene. And I included this shot because you can see that the access road was closed down because there were bullet shells, there were bullet casings everywhere on the access road. So police,
you can just see the cars. Like, it's amazing that no other cars were hit in this suspected road rage incident.
Right. So where are we now? So I just got off the phone with SAPD, and of course they don't like to talk about cases that are in progress, but there were a lot of potential witnesses out there because I-35 and the access road and the stock show, and it was at a time of day when there were a lot of people out there rolling down the road. I wrote it down. We just decided to do this on the spur of the moment, so I wrote down the phone number, the non-emergency number for SAPD. If you have a clue, if you saw it, if you were involved, if you got down the road and you had a bullet hole in your car, we don't even know about collateral damage.
How far it started down the highway.
But these were big caliber bullets flying through the air. And I looked at the Motel 6 next door, and I didn't see any collateral damage. I didn't see any collateral damage to cars, which was amazing. But 210-207 SAPD is the non-emergency number.
The company did have some collateral damage to their fence, and it's so great that they gave you that video.
It is awesome that they gave up the video, because I think live video, watching people move, watching people trying to escape, not, just the way that they move, their clothing, the fact that there were four of them all together, the fact that their clothing was similar, maybe that is enough to tell somebody who did this and get some clues.
Absolutely. And, I was looking at some of the comments online, and some people were like, I can't believe SAPD is saying that crime is down. We've had a lot of road rage incidents, and they believe this could be that, but they're not for sure just yet. We're still waiting to hear. And other people saying, was this targeted? And like you said, from the video, we're able to see a lot more and just hopefully get some answers from SAPD. And that's why we're doing this, because a lot of you have been talking about it, and there's only so much we can show on air, but Sue was able to give you some of that, you know, behind the story notes and that she's been taking, that she's been getting. And we are live right now. So if you have any questions for Sue, you can write us in. We will try and get those questions answered.
Right. And I think one important key is that, you know, these are humans. These victims are somebody's son, they're somebody's brother, they're somebody's grandson. And one of the things that we don't spend a lot of time talking about at crime scenes is the impact on families. And I think on television we have a tendency to say their injuries were not life-threatening. And to me, it's almost an injustice, because you don't know if that person is paralyzed. You don't know if that person is going to be in rehab for months. You don't know if that person is going to have pain for ever and ever. And when we are trying to gather information at a scene like this, where you saw the relatives show up, they already know, they're frantic for information, and they're desperately hoping that somebody will help them out. You know, somebody who saw something, somebody who knows something will call the number and rat these guys out and help them figure it out.
Yeah. So 4 people on the run from that scene on I-35 that happened Sunday. Hopefully someone saw something. Heavily trafficked area. It was the last day of the rodeo. A lot of people exiting that exit coming up there at I-35, and 3 people injured. We're still waiting to get more on their injuries, but that is terrifying. You roll up to a scene, your family member called you, but they are already taken. You know, and you could see from that video, they're hobbling. It looks like that someone was hit or injured,
Right.
if not in that crash, from the gunfire.
Right. And, you know, when somebody gets shot, shock automatically sets in. And so you see them jump out of the car, and you see them hopping around, you see them hobbling around. I know one of the questions online was, why is this person, you know, why are they running away? Well, you know, if I just got shot, I'd want to get as far away as possible. You know, there's a fence there, there's a trench there, a ditch of some sort behind there. You know, if I got shot, I'd want to run away. Yeah. No kidding. And the other thing that I find comforting, a little bit of comfort about this video, is that they were moving. You know, they did. It wasn't that they were so critically injured that they were stuck in the car bleeding out.
Yes.
That they jumped up and they started calling for help right away. So, you know, hopefully their injuries are not that critical.
Yes, and hopefully we'll get more updates. But do you want to share that number again?
Yeah.
Because this is a number that you can call if you saw anything. If, like you said, you ended up being part of the collateral damage from that gunfire, 210-207-SAPD. Definitely, hopefully, they can find some answers and get these people, you know, caught.
Right. My hope would be that this video continues to get shared far and wide, because, you know, we don't know much about the victims yet. That's the other thing. I'd kind of, you know, that grandma that I talked to, she was so rattled. I said, Grandma, smell the roses, blow out the candles, you know, before you hit the road, take a deep breath, you know, don't make it worse by getting involved in a crash on the way to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to say the kid's name, but I asked her for her grandson's name, you know, and I said, everybody, you know, we'll pray for him, because these are real human stories. And that's what I hope, you know, that we hear from the victims, and that somebody who knows who these suspects are will tell the full story. Because, you know, there was an allegation at first that this was a shootout, that they were shooting at each other.
Okay.
Well,
You can
I
see
don't
from
know.
that, video, the other suspects, they don't look hurt, but their car could have been. We didn't get that close to their car to see.
Or the first guys were bad shots, if they were shooting.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
there's a
also
whole
true.
lot we don't know, but we do know that the cameras never blink, and the video tells the story. And putting that video out there, hopefully, will compel somebody who saw something. You know, that's what they say. See something, say something. And that would be my hope, that we could help get some answers to these people who now have bullet holes and will have, you know, a crashed car and hospital bills and have to recover from injuries that we don't even understand.
Absolutely. And thankfully for that a company for sharing the video, because we don't always get video like that. And, you know, maybe someone saw something, recognizes them, and will be able to call SIPD and help. But
Right.
so
But
much
in the
behind this
meantime,
story.
National Trench Safety. And dig this. You can't really see it from the video, and if I had had more time, I would have included it. But this was the craziest thing. There's a big, tall cyclone fence, right? And fence posts. That car, I don't know how they did it, careening out of control, but they split the difference and they went between two posts, and the fence material, the actual cyclone fence, just gave way. There was zero damage to
Wow.
that fence,
Oh my
because that
gosh.
was one of the things that when I was on scene, they kept saying, oh, the car crashed right into the place. The car crashed because the business was closed. And I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, that seems right. But I didn't see the fence was damaged. Well, they just peeled the cyclone fence right up and kept right on going.
Wow.
And then the other thing we didn't get a chance to talk about that I didn't have a chance to include was SAPD knew right away. That's the other thing that Kevin, the manager, said that he was so surprised by, is that SAPD's response was so fast. So they knew something was going on because they were there really super fast, and they had to actually break through the chain on the gate to get into the place. And part of the video is in my actual story that aired on TV yesterday at 6 o'clock, but you see them running through, and here's all these officers en masse. They know that something bad has just happened.
They don't know what's coming up around that corner.
They don't know if the guys that they're going to get are armed. They don't know where the gunmen are. They see, you know, they started out, they saw the car, but here they all go, you know, en masse, running in there, running into danger, not knowing what they're facing, and ending up helping all of the people that are shot. But that was the other thing that Kevin, the manager, mentioned in particular, was that he was really grateful to SAPD for the way that they just jumped on it. They found a way to break through the gate. They broke the lock. They got in, and they responded as fast as humanly possible to help in the search. And then another thing I didn't say is dogs. They brought a dog out, so because those guys ran away, and they put the dog on the trail too. So they were on the ground, had a dog, had a lot of people by air. This was an intense manhunt.
You did also tell me police believe that those suspects possibly got picked up by someone. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. In the video, if you go back and watch the video closely, there is a black SUV on the access road at the time when it happened. And at the time, police said they believed that maybe the black SUV picked these four suspects up and took them away. But that was preliminary information from the scene.
Yeah.
And sometimes people see things, and if you don't know the whole story, you don't know what's going on. So I'm not sure what that means, or if the black SUV is still a part of it. But we do know that from the video that there was a black SUV on the access road at that time in the same general area.
Yeah. And they fired up Chopper to try and see, you know, where they went, and they couldn't find their trails. So it's only assumed that maybe they got in someone's car or went to hide somewhere.
Right.
So.
And you know, they're right south of this area, which is where the new car dealership is, where the rodeo parking lot is. There is a huge neighborhood, Willowwood, Meadowview North, of private homes. And so I actually know people who live over there, and I got on the phone right away with the guy I know that lives on the first block south of that location, the first residential block. And I got on the phone and I said, hey, there's 4 armed gunmen on the loose, and if you hear the helicopter, that's what's going on. And I just think, you know, that's what social media is. You know, before we would call our neighbors and we would say, hey, something's going on. And now we have the ability to go on social media, to get on Instagram, to put out information in a hurry. And truly, it's a public service to warn people what's going on in your very own neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely. And like we mentioned, like road rage incidents, we're seeing so many more here in San Antonio. We were hearing a lot of them in Houston, in Dallas, some of the bigger metroplexes. But it feels like it's arrived here, and more people are just angry on the roads.
You know, we did this story yesterday, and it got a lot of interest. A lot of people were watching it. But the other story that got a lot of interest yesterday was another road rage story. So anybody who didn't see that story, you ought to go back and watch that one by Megan Reyna, because that one, a guy, good neighbor, you know, he saw what he thought was a road rage incident, and he saw a guy driving crazy, so he took out his cell phone and he just started recording. And sure enough, this poor woman with a child in the car, she stopped at a red light, she can't escape, and here comes Mr. Bad Guy with a knife, and he jumps out of the car and he runs over there and he just, you know, smacks the sidewall of that tire and flattens her tire, gets back in his car, and drives off. And so cameras make a difference, caring people make a difference, community,
like business owner.
Community makes a difference. You know, as we get ready to wrap it up here, that's what I would say. You know, that thing that we say, we're San Antonio's own, you know, that's just not something that we say. We who have been here for many years, we who are from here, we know that we like to help our neighbors.
Yes.
And we know that this kind of stuff, we don't
not
like
okay.
it.
Yeah, it's not okay. We don't want any more of it. And we know people out there, someone can help. Because like you said, if this truly is road rage, it could have hurt someone else. And we don't want any more of that on our roadways. We're thankful to PD for running into that scene, helping those young guys, and hopefully we'll get more answers as this story unfolds.
Right.
But a lot always behind the scenes, a lot that we can't put out there. We can only show so much on TV for the limited time we have, but that's why this is a great outlet behind the story. Be sure to join us next time. We're going to be breaking down other stories. Let us know if there's any story that you want to learn more about. We will get one of our reporters up here with us to kind of break it down and let you guys, and as always, talk to us on social media. Let us know what you want to see.
Thanks.
See you next time.
Thanks.
Yeah.